Here we go.
Cool.
Balls in your court.
Right.
So wait, you already know the Earth is flat. What are we talking about?
Okay, well, kind of. So I believe it's flat from a certain perspective. So I'm the kind of person that thinks that reality is subjective and that there's no objective truth. And that so from one given perspective, the Earth is flat, and from another, the Earth is round, and that's perfectly fine. I say that the closest to objective truth, I would say, my opinion, is that the Earth is donut shaped and there's a black hole at the center, and that no one really has figured that out yet. But that's just my opinion.
Is the
But
donut flat on the surface or is it rounded?
yeah, so I would say that it gets really flat near the surface, but then it's rounded, and so I think that's the good happy medium for everyone to agree upon. I
Do
think
you have any
that's what we should
receipts for
say.
that? Do you have any measurements? Do you have any test observations that show this?
I don't. It is completely just my opinion. But so no, I would like to hear some of your tests and stuff like that, and why you think the Earth is flat.
Well, this video right here from a balloon at 120,000 feet looks flat. It's not spinning out from underneath me at 1,000 miles an hour.
Yeah,
Sun's not 93 million miles away. It's right there.
interesting.
Every ancient culture before NASA came around thought the Earth was a flat plane. Now, when we say flat, there's high points, low points, but it's flat. Large bodies of water at rest lay flat. Like the Globers will go, look, I put some water on an orange, and even though it fell off, the orange still has water on it. And if you put it into scale, that's the whole ocean. No, it's not. Okay.
Yeah.
Large bodies of water at rest lay flat, period. The Earth is an extended plane, and we live within a pond within that plane.
Yeah. An interesting theory is a lot of people believe that. So there's a big Antarctica like ice wall, right? And that's past the ice wall. There's actually more of just this giant plane, and that's where all the mythical creatures live. Like the unicorns and like the dragons and stuff like that. I think that would be pretty cool. That's just a theory of mine.
That makes more sense than coming from outer space. And
yeah.
If you look, there's more land. Here's a map. It could be rings like this, right? Where you have this extra territory out here. It could just be we're the only pond and it's all ice,
Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah.
Who knows? Have you watched the EWAR series that came out recently?
No, I haven't.
Well, he one of the things he talks about is the moon being a reflection showing the true Earth map. But taking that, I think there's something there. But if this green area, and these circles here are our known world, our pond, imagine everything outside of this is this outer white line would be the beginning of Antarctica, what we call Antarctica. And so the rest of this land is all frozen. And this progresses around 15 degrees every 2,160 years. So we go through all of the 12 zodiacs, and that explains precession. And it's the migrate. It explains mud floods. It explains ice ages. It explains a lot of things. So our magnetic center moves around slowly. So our puddle migrates with it. So, this area would freeze over if it's going this way.
Oh, that's very interesting.
And then this would melt. We'd have new areas. Now, there's been, Antarctica once was not covered in ice. Maybe, they're showing parts of Antarctica where it wasn't. And now, that we're, soon, in 2,000 years or so, this will be called Antarctica right here.
Yeah.
Because the puddle has moved this way.
And the ice caps and stuff are melting. And so that could explain why that's happening.
Right. And here's your black donut hole in the middle with our magnetic ring around. Now,
exactly.
This is all
so it migrates around the donut.
I have not many receipts for this, although this is the moon. And boy, when you line up the continents and the places and the islands, there's too many things to be a coincidence. So Is it reflecting the Earth, or is it kind of a map of the Earth for, the people that were here before idiocracy took over the world, and they could look up and see that what age we're in? I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
It's interesting. So yeah, one thing I want to say to my fans, because obviously like most of my fans are going to be round earthers. And again, I'm kind of, I don't know. So that's the thing. I think it's important for a lot of people to admit, especially the round earthers, that they don't know. You know what I mean? There's at least they got.
Here's the thing. f- round earthers, I call them globs, like globs. They don't know their own model, and
Right.
what they think our model is completely wrong. We're completely
Right.
wrong, right? They think that we're a disc flying in space, right? They think that that we're a pancake in space.
Hmm.
No flat earther thinks that. Okay,
Hmm.
they don't know the motions of the heliocentric world that they think they live in. We're
Right.
spinning, twirling, whirling, we're corkscrewing through space um, at unimaginable speeds and distances, but somehow the stars never change, right?
Hmm.
They don't notice. Witsit gets it, who's he's doing a USA tour, going around and just doing street activism. He's offering $100 if anyone can answer 3 questions about the Earth. And the first question he tells you ahead of time. He goes, "How many rotations does the Earth do in 24 hours?" Right? And then the next question is, "How far is the sun?" And no one knows. And these are the
Right.
people that defend the globe. They believe in the globe. They think that flat earthers are crazy, but they can't tell you one relevant thing about this ridiculous model that they think they believe in.
Right, exactly. So I'm honest enough to admit my ignorance, and so I'm encouraging people to be open minded because as kids we were tricked into believing that Santa Claus was real. So how do we know that we're not being tricked by the government? There are a lot of conspiracy theories about the
Wait a
government
minute.
that have proven to be true.
Our government would never trick us. They're here for our health and for our well-being.
So what's interesting? There are so many conspiracy theories that have been proven to be true, like the Tuskegee experiment, where they gave black African Americans
Right.
syphilis actually to
Right.
experiment on them, and that's been proven to be true. So there's all these conspiracy theories and horrible things that they've done that have proven to be true, and people just think that they're just all out for our better good.
Do you know the difference between a conspiracy theory and a fact?
What is it?
About 6 months.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I love it.
So again, there's a lot of people like, I don't know if you know Owen Benjamin. I kind of he was talking about the moon landings and stuff, and then he thought flat Earth was stupid. Had me on. He saw it right away. But he doesn't call himself a flat earther, and I like it. He calls himself a realm earther because he doesn't know what this place is. There's
Yeah.
lots of things like we were just talking about: rings, puddles, no puddles, right? Dome, no dome. But what we all know is it's not a spinning ball flying through an infinite space vacuum. That's just physically impossible and scientifically provably impossible.
I like that. I'm gonna call myself a realm earther because yeah, it's some sort of a cool little mystical realm that we live in, but I'm not sure exactly what's going on.
Exactly.
I love
You
it.
know, if you look at a NASA um, in their underwater swimming pool where they do all of their SpaceX stuff, um, there's a big poster on the wall. I'm trying to find it as I'm talking to you. Uh, that shows a Vitruvian man inside of a dome with a rocket trying to break through and scuba divers. Where the heck
Mhm.
did it go? Zoom doesn't let me organize these things. They just put random, then it moves them just when I'm thinking about it. So I'm trying to find the picture of it.
Right.
Um, and it's like they always tell us it's right in our faces when they do it. Here's a close up of it. So this is on their wall in their National Buoyancy Lab where they have a replica of the space shuttle underneath a pool in a blacked
Hmm.
out room with green screens. Right, and they
Wow.
have scuba divers in there moving people around. But if you look right here, there's a rocket trying to break through the dome.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and I
Wow.
think this is the bell or whatever, the Nazi bell or whatever it was. There's so much symbolism in here. It's ridiculous, but it's right in our faces. Oh, here it is. Here it is up here. What I was just showing you close up, and this is the
Hmm.
space station in a pool. That's where they do their training.
Wow.
Why would you do your training in an atmosphere where everything's trying to get into your suit, and in space, all the air is trying to get out of your suit? Like in
Yeah.
water, it's the
Interesting.
opposite. Okay.
Interesting. That is
Dumbest
very
thing
interesting.
ever.
So, an interesting conspiracy theory is that the government is actually just kind of putting on this giant play, right? So basically, it could be that the world is actually this utopia, and that maybe all this violence and evil doesn't actually exist. So, 9/11 was an inside job. It was fake. That's why Seth MacFarlane, the creator of Family Guy, who was supposed to be on the flight, but then he didn't get on the flight. There are a lot of truth in cartoons and stuff like that. And maybe they're just putting on this giant play. And, the second coming of Jesus Christ is coming to save the day. And it's all this play called Dear Evan Hansen. Who knows?
So you got there's a lot right there. First, that's on the 911 thing. I don't want to get you triggered here on YouTube. There was.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
It's okay. I'll talk very, very non-scriptly. Taking a flight from the East Coast to the West Coast during the week, those early morning flights are very popular because businessmen can fly there, get there at 10 o'clock, and have a full day of work. And there's about, out of those 3 airports, there's a total of about 30 to 35 flights every weekday. And they're always sold out with people on standby. Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, that morning, I think there was 34 flights. Doesn't really matter exactly. And they were all sold out except 4 that were only 20% full. 2 of them weren't even scheduled to fly. So where did they get their passengers from?
Yeah.
Okay. So that there alone, unwind that, we're talking total nonsense.
Exactly.
What else did you said something else that I wanted to comment on?
I don't know. The government is kind of in on it. So there's a theory.
Yeah. I got it.
Okay.
So you're right. The only thing that's real is in your imagination. This world
exactly
is your how do you break it? Someone broke it down.
Your perception is your reality.
A nation. So you're imagining your world. And so they want us watching the news. They want us, all the movies that we watch. We think that an asteroid could take us out at any moment. We evolved from pond scum. You're imagining your worthlessness, your unimportance. You're deluding yourself in infinite space. You're afraid of nuclear bombs and asteroids and just all this stuff, running out of food, global warming. They have us in this. So we give ourselves, we give our natural rights away to people that have no right over them, but we do it willingly. And so, if they have us imagining this horrifying world, and then we're going to create this horrifying world that they want.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's just, every single thing in existence started out in someone's mind. So every single building so your perception is your reality. So it's interesting, Jesus said the kingdom of heaven is within. I'm not like a religious person. I'm a spiritual person. So Jesus said the kingdom of heaven is within, which just means that, hey, your perception is your reality. If you believe you're in heaven, like I feel like I'm in heaven right now. I love the world that we live in, but a lot of people,
I'm having a great time. The last couple of years have been fantastic.
I know, but a lot of people, obviously it's not like that, and they're living in hell. And so that's just what it is. Heaven, I don't believe it's some mystical realm. It's just, it's just your mind. So that's just my opinion anyway.
Yeah, my opinion is we're here in this physical realm, and the non-physical heaven is right above us. We can see it. It's right there where the clouds are. Think about this.
Oh, interesting.
Water holds memory. Water, like a drop of water, holds terabytes of information, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so our bodies are filled with information because we're filled with water, right? Mm-hmm. And water, water knows, like, you saw Dr. Emoto, he put like a flower petal in the water and then froze the water, and you could see the fractal of the flower petal because the flower touched the water, and it just knows, water can be structured. So what are we told about heaven? Heaven is a non-physical lighter realm, where angels are. Well, what's non-physical? Well, you look at clouds, you can fly right through them, right? Mm-hmm. They're water vapor, right? They're just like, they're water. The clouds that we see, they're not holding all of that rain. They're not holding all of that water. Have you ever been in a hurricane or something where there's rivers of water coming out of the sky, trillions of tons or billions of tons of water? Where's that coming from? Was it floating in the sky before it decided to fall? Right.
Right.
So I don't think people have no idea what's right above us, right within our eyesight.
Yeah, there are definitely different dimensions to reality. Have you seen Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind? The alien encounter documentary. It's very interesting. People have contacted aliens. They've got aliens on camera. Essentially, they do these meditation practices and can actually contact them with consciousness.
Yeah,
and
that makes a lot of sense. Again, aliens. I don't like using the words aliens because aliens. aliens and extraterrestrials are different things. Extraterrestrials come from the extra territory, extra terra, beyond Antarctica. So, if somebody physically met an alien, they came from this world, maybe underneath the ground in a world that we can't see, or maybe beyond Antarctica in a world that we can't get to, or, civilians can't get to. Coming from trillions of miles away. Trillions is the word, the number a trillion is ridiculous. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If I paid you $1 every second starting now, how long until you're a trillionaire?
What is that? Is that like hundreds of thousands of years or something?
31,000 years.
Yeah, something like
okay?
that. Yeah,
it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And the closest star is 25 trillion miles away. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the closest star. So if aliens were coming from the closest star, they're coming from 25 trillion miles. It's just ridiculous. You can't even, your brain can't process how far that is.
Yeah, that's the idea, is that they travel through the mind, like through consciousness, rather than through like kind of the physical world using, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like the shuttles are built using like mind, using like telekinesis and shit like that. But that's a whole nother thing. I have an interesting question. So, another interesting place that these different beings could come from. Do you believe that there could be beings in like the center of this earth, this flat earth?
Oh, absolutely. 100%. Yeah. I mean, no one's allowed to go to the center right now. Like we have these rings. Maybe there's another ring in here. That's where, there's some crazy stories of ships that go in there, and all of a sudden the water starts getting warmer, and the air and the water, you can't tell where the water starts and where water stops and the air starts. I mean,
right.
There's all sorts of stuff, that's going there. I think that the Earth, this is my personal opinion, and I got no receipts for this, that the Earth births suns out of the center.
Oh, interesting. Out of the black hole.
Out of the black hole in the center. Right.
Yeah.
And I did a talk with Sophia Smallstorm called The Outward Flow of Civilizations. Imagine all of this is all ice, except, we have Antarctica shoreline and we're here. And the sun is born here. If you look at the Bostock Saga, it talks about all the life beginning in the center. And, the sun is born under the only star that doesn't move, that's Polaris. Well, the sun is born under a star. Interesting. Okay. And it circles around and it oscillates in and out. You know how the sun oscillates in between the two tropics.
Right. Okay.
So it melted out this puddle. And then one day the sun said, hey, I'm going to start going out here. I'm going to oscillate out here now. Guess what would happen? All of this would freeze over. All of the people here would migrate south, which is every direction away from the center. And so now you have like all the Mayans and the Aztecs and all of these ancient civilizations that just picked up and disappeared. Maybe they're all living out here now. We have this ice barrier in between us, and then a new sun is born here. And and the nomads that lived here, maybe it was a year, maybe it was 10 years, maybe it was 2,000 years. I don't know. Maybe it was 10,000 years. And so a new sun is born, and they have no idea that there's other people out here. They have no idea that this world exists.
Interesting. Yeah, that could be very possible, man. Yeah, absolutely. Man, I just think, in my opinion, reality is like infinite. So all stories kind of exist simultaneously. So I don't like to pick one. I like to kind of, I like to believe in like all of them. You know what I mean? And it's like, again, your perception is your reality. So it's like, it's a mental construction. That's what this is a giant mental construction. So it's like whatever you want to believe, like it's true. See, I don't seek to invalidate any perspectives. I like to validate all perspectives, but just expand perspectives, right?
To say I know in what's out beyond Antarctica or what's overhead, you can't. The only thing, as Crow 777 Radio says, the only thing you can say about anything you see in the sky other than known aircraft is their lights. You don't know how big they are, you don't know how far they are, you don't know what they are, you don't know what the heck they're doing, you know anything. I have my opinions on what I think stars are, but I have no receipts. So again, we try to figure all this out, but we can scientifically prove that we're not a water ball in a space vacuum. Okay.
Interesting. Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about that? So what is some of the evidence that shows that we're not a water ball in a space vacuum?
Yeah. So, when you ask somebody, why do you think the earth is a globe? And they go science and physics. And I go, what science and physics? They go, all of it. I'm like, can you name one thing? And they can't, because there is none. So once upon a time, there was nothing. It exploded and created everything. That's the beginning story of the heliocentric universe. And then all of the rocky bits started accumulating. Somehow they had enough mass to attract another piece, and they all started, attracting. And and created these rocky balls that we call planets, right? All of the matter just together. But for some reason, the hydrogen and the helium and the gases decided to create their own ball, right? And they made bigger balls with even more gravity, like way more gravity and way bigger. Okay. And they left a vacuum in between. Okay. Do you see how many problems there are with this to start? Besides that nothing turned into everything, I'll give them that. Let's just pretend that could happen. How do you have a gas ball in a vacuum? How do you have a gas ball in a vacuum? The second law of thermodynamics says you can't have high pressure next to low pressure without a physical barrier. So a lot of flat earthers think that there's a physical dome over us. I am one of them, but they think it's because you can't have vacuum of space next to a pressurized atmosphere. I don't believe space is a vacuum. I believe space is water. I believe it's infinite water.
See, what's funny? So imagine a fish swimming around. It doesn't know it's in water. It doesn't know what water is. It's just like air to it, right? And we could be the exact same thing. We could be in something that's like water, and we just don't know. We call it air, but it's actually something much more. It could be.
Well, air is they're lying about air for sure. We're breathing in spirit. Like if you're not just, it's energetic. There's life in the air. We're spiritual beings, and and if you don't believe me, just stop breathing. Stop breathing for a little bit and watch what happens.
There's actually a lot of people won't believe this, but science has actually studied this one man. There are a lot of people called breatharians, so they actually go without food or water. They actually survive just by breathing in the air, and they probably get energy from the sun as well. There was, I believe he's from India, and science, they actually studied him, and he went like a very, very long time without food or water. And so it's very, very possible. I actually did a 40-day fast about a year ago. And so a lot more is possible.
You did a 40-day fast?
Yeah, I did. I live streamed every second of it to prove it.
Water fast?
Yeah, I just drank water. So I lost 41 pounds. Yeah.
Wow. I'm trying to do a 3-day water fast, and I haven't started it yet.
Oh yeah, it's. The more you fast, I started out with intermittent fasting, and then I went on to like 72-hour fast, and then so you just got to build up to it. Your body gets used to it.
That's crazy. I'm gonna do it though.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah. So you talk about the breatharians and the sun gaze. I do. I'm sure you sun gaze. It's amazing what you see. And then also when there's an eclipse and people are like, eclipses prove the earth is flat. I mean, the earth is a globe. No, they don't. They prove that the earth is flat, as a matter of fact, because eclipses are impossible. And we've known for a long time that the earth is flat. This was found off of the Greek islands, Antikythera. It's called the Antikythera mechanism. And they x-rayed it and they actually rebuilt it. They made an MRI and they re-engineered it. It shows where all the eclipses happen, when they happen, what the positions of some of the planets, and it shows that they're on an 18-year cycle. There's 2 different cycles for the eclipses, and then they repeat. Think about this. The sun is 400 times bigger than the moon, but 400 times farther. Therefore, they look the same size. Our common sense tells us they're the same size. And then somehow they line up perfectly. Well, the chances of that happening have too many zeros after the decimal point for me to even count, right? That's to happen once. Well, it happens all the time. And then after 18 years, the entire cycle repeats again. That shows you that what we see in the sky clock, the sky is a perfect clock.
Yeah, it's interesting. People have these limiting perspectives. So when they look up at the sun, they always imagine looking up at the sun. But if you think about it, right? I mean, from their model, right, the globe model, they might as well be looking down at the sun. You could imagine yourself like on the moon looking down at the earth. You could be on the earth looking down at the sun. You know what I mean? So it's like
you're always at the top of the ball on the globe model. Check this out. So this is an experiment a guy did. So you got your sun right here, and then you got your moon, and the moon is actually smaller than the sun, and we'll show them together. It's smaller proportionally. It's not. So we move the light away, and then we're going to eclipse it with the moon penny, and we're going to try to recreate the eclipse. And it's not really looking like what an eclipse looks. You got the glare. You don't really get the corona. It just doesn't work. But then we take it in a second. There's another light on this flashlight, which is smaller, which is the same size as the penny. It's hard to see, but it's the same size as the penny. So we're going to turn that on, and we're not going to move it 93 million miles away. And we're just going to eclipse it with the penny and watch what happens. That looks like an eclipse. And when it goes to totality, this is, if you watch an eclipse, that's what it looks like when you got your corona. And that's showing you, to make an eclipse that looks like this, you have to have the two objects have to be close.
Interesting.
Penny, real eclipse, penny.
Wouldn't the penny be like farther away though?
I think that the sun and the moon are very, very, very close within the Earth system. And I don't believe that the sun and the moon that we see are the actual real sun and moon. I believe that they're being projected into our reality, and the real action is taking place above the dome.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Okay.
So that's cool. Yeah, here is the sun travels in between the two tropics once every 6 months. In 6 months to the Tropic of Cancer, 6 months out. So this isn't to speed. And then the moon does it every 2 weeks, 2 weeks in, 2 weeks out. And then when they cross at a nodal point, that's when you get an eclipse.
Ooh, that's
and so cool. If they crossed in here, the northern hemisphere would see it more. And this is how eclipses happen.
Interesting.
And that's why it's on a cycle. It's going. It's not a crazy beehive. With gravity, think about this, all the alignments of the planets, how come they don't tug on each other? How come the sun doesn't tug our moon away? How come everything doesn't get perturbed? Science can't model 3 bodies in a computer model. They can't have 3 bodies orbiting each other because it goes into chaos mode and they can't figure it out. And we have like 60 bodies in our solar system alone, billions in our galaxy, and somehow everything repeats all of the time. It's complete nonsense.
So what is like the driving force that has these planets kind of spinning around the flat Earth?
What is the driving force? Got me, man. We'll call it God.
Yeah. Okay. I love it. Yeah. Let's just call it God. It's like our
Go ahead.
I would just say it.
Go, you first. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, it depends on what we consider God. I would just consider God like just the kind of the collective consciousness, like all of our infinite imaginations, like working together, kind of creating this one infinite dream. But yeah, I mean, it's whatever you want to call it. But I think that you guys are being a lot more honest, saying that you don't know. Science is trying to act like they have everything figured out, when of course they don't.
They have nothing figured out.
It's interesting. They try and say that there's this objective reality that somehow that they can measure, but they're measuring everything with their mind, and they don't even know how the mind works because they don't do enough like meditation and stuff like that. So you're trying to, the electron slit experiment shows that things change based on whether we're observing it or not. So everything is actually happening in this collective mind, and somehow science believes that there's something outside of the mind. Well, no, there's not. No one has ever experienced anything outside of their mind, right? So it's this collective mind putting on this dream, and I think that's kind of the driving force behind this cool little thing we got going on.
I'm going to show you a video, and I'm going to walk you through it. It's a little experiment I did. There was a guy that filmed the eclipse years ago in, I don't know, out west somewhere, and just before it went to totality, when it was like 85% eclipsed, he could see another little eclipse. So let me show you. So this is my app. Are you familiar with my app?
Okay, no, I'm not, but this looks really cool. I'm going to download it.
Yeah, this is called the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock apps. So if you're not familiar with it, let me show you real quick. The sun, the sky is the perfect clock. The sun goes around once every 24 hours. It's the hour hand of the clock, but it's not on the hour hand because we're in fake daylight savings time, which knocks us off kilter. Okay. It laps the moon once every 28 days. So you'll see as they go faster, the moon is waning. It's almost gone. It's going to go into the new moon phase for about 2 revolutions. And then when it passes, you'll get a waxing crescent. There it is coming out. And so the sun will lap the moon every 28 or so days. So the moon keeps track of the weeks and the moons. It used to be called moons. The sun keeps track of the hours and the days. Let me slow it down. Turn on the stars. The stars keep track of the seasons and the years. Okay. So right now, we're the stars will lap the sun once a year. So each constellation will catch up to the sun. So next month, the sun will be here in the Tropic of Cancer. Okay. So let me show you. Let me turn off the stars for a second. I'll jump forward to July. And so in July, the sun is over the Tropic of Cancer, which is this inner yellow line. If I turn on the tropics, you'll see that it's in the Tropic of Cancer, right?
Oh, okay.
And then if I move it 6 months later, it goes all the way, it migrates all the way out to the Tropic of Capricorn. If I turn it on, you'll see that the sun is in Capricorn, which is opposed, the opposite of the Tropic of Cancer. So that's when the southern lands have their winter. I mean, their summer, because the sun is closer to them. It's higher in the sky, and it's farther from us in the north because it's lower in the sky. It's farther away, and then we're having our winter, right? 6 months later, the sun moves back in. Look, Miami, super hot in Miami. In Southern California, super hot because the sun is directly over them. Australia, middle of their winter. Okay.
Wow.
6 months later, it's now summer in Australia because the sun is over their heads. Makes perfect sense, right?
Interesting. Yeah.
Seasons make no sense on a ball. All right.
Right.
So now I'm going to hit the frequently asked question button, and up come all of the questions that people have. What about seasons? Which I just described. What about gravity? Or what about eclipses? If I click what about eclipses, up comes a playlist of videos that Google will not share with you. These are all videos that will explain what we're not seeing and kind of what we are seeing. So
YouTube censors a lot of stuff. I just put a video about Jake Paul's mom. I did some stuff with her on OnlyFans, and they censored that. It's wild. They censor so much stuff, but anyway,
it's unbelievable. So, but we need to stay here for the normies because this is all the normies know. So to wake up normies. So here I'm going to pull up this video, which is the solar eclipse, and I call it the projected sun. Just like when you use a magnifying glass, you can make a perfect little dot of projected sun. I believe that the dome is doing that from the real sun. So on the left, you got my clips that I'm making projected onto a paper towel. On the right, here, let me go back a second. On the right is the actual eclipse that I filmed. Okay. The sky was a little hazy. It made it really easy to film it. So I was telling you about the guy who was in Michigan that filmed something that looked like we thought it was a lens flare at first, but if you look right next to the sun, you have this thing right here, which is locked to the sun. Now, this one that's jumping around, that's the lens flare. But the sun is eclipsed about this much. I'm like, so what? Why are we seeing that? And the reason you don't see the sun eclipsed is just because it's so bright, it's blowing out the lens. But if you put if you put sunglasses on, you would see that it's this eclipsed. All right, you with me?
Wow. Interesting.
All right, so I say that this is the projector outside of the dome projecting that focused point of energy in here. So we can do it. I did another experiment. So that's showing you that the sun is just blowing out the lens, and so this is the eclipse is about 85% right now, and this isn't moving. So we had people that are very familiar with cameras and lenses, and they couldn't figure out what it was. So whenever there's a solar eclipse, no one has ever seen the moon face approach, cross, or exit the sun. And that's because it's not really there. The moon, let me just pause this for a second. The sun, so back here, this is my projected sun, and it's being projected, and we see it. The moon has no light during an eclipse, so there's nothing to project. So therefore, you don't ever see it. So here we go. And so this is my eclipse, but I'm using a paper towel here, which is pretty opaque. And I said, hey, maybe the sky screen, which I call it, is thinner. So get ready. I used a thinner piece of tissue paper, and watch what happens. Come on. Here we go. So again, I had the projected sun. I'm eclipsing it from behind it, and you see the eclipse coming in. No, you don't see the moon. You just see something eclipsing it. And look, there you have it. The same thing. There's the projector through the screen, and it looks exactly like what's going on.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Wow. So the sun and moon aren't real. Essentially, there's other suns and moons, and we're just looking at projections of them.
I believe that this is my opinion. I think that they're real. We're just seeing them projected into our reality. Just like we all see the sun in a position relative to our own.
Right. Yeah, everything is relative. That was the genius of Einstein. You know what I mean? He
Yeah,
came out and he said that, space and time is relative. And that was this huge paradigm shift. You know what I mean? So I think it's
right.
time for another paradigm shift. People don't realize that they think that somehow science has everything perfectly figured out when every few decades, like there's a giant new paradigm shift. So let's shift the paradigm. I love it.
Um, Last thing on the app. This is if you want to learn about flat Earth, if you Google flat Earth, you're not going to find anything. You're going to find all propaganda by Google and YouTube. This is called the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. Every day there's a new video here, featured video of the day. And I tell people, if you think flat Earth is stupid, I've got 2 Bitcoins for you. If you can give me 1 proof of the globe. But before you do it, you have to watch the video each day for 2 weeks. Then you have to click the question mark button before you send me your proof, because it's probably answered there.
Mhm.
And it shows the app does a whole bunch of other things. It's got all sorts of images that you can use, um, to really see what's going on in this world and all the deception. And
Yeah,
that's
so that's an interesting question. So like a lot of people are saying, hey, like NASA has these images, like what's up with that?
yeah, like images of what? Images of Earth? Like
Yeah, that's what I
like
mean. That's
this
what people
one?
think. Yeah, that's what people think. Yeah, that looks real, huh?
Yeah. So here's 2 images of Earth. The United States is kind of looking kind of weird.
Mhm.
The
Yeah,
sizes
look
are
at how
different.
yeah, look how different they look. Isn't that weird? How different they look.
Yeah. it gets a lot worse than that.
So isn't
NASA,
it?
go ahead.
Isn't it? It's just it blows my mind how the government has done so many horrible things and people trust them like they're our freaking parents. You know what I mean? It's so
Right.
wild. It's so
This is
wild.
the blue marble that was on everyone's iPhone, and you can see that the clouds are stepped and repeated. They admit that it's not a photograph, that it was made from just data. And a guy said he made it in Photoshop, and he hit Command Z a lot, trying to make it look believable.
Yeah. Wow. That's wild.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, even they've admitted that it's Photoshop, but people just they're so close-minded that they don't even question the paradigms that they've been raised in.
Yeah,
You know?
1978 photo from NASA, 2017, they used the same clouds. Same
Yeah.
clouds. Okay?
Wow.
And they're like, "Oh, it's dimmer because of pollution." That's what the story was.
And when did they say that they went to the moon?
1960s.
Yeah, interesting. Wow.
Yeah. And it's interesting that they have the astronauts from the moon mission have a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Because they're actors, just
They're
like everyone.
they're
Yeah,
actronauts.
I would
And
say, yeah, all the governments are actors. So there's an interesting theory that they're all reptilians, like they're, you know what I mean? So that could be interesting. Maybe they're just extraterrestrials putting on a play for us, called The Great Awakening or Dear Evan Hansen or something like that. I don't know.
and
Who's
it's
knows?
just a coincidence that a NASA advisor, an astronaut, a science fiction movie director, a Stanley Kubrick, a movie maker. Wait, Arthur C. Clarke. He's a novelist, and then you got the senior administrator for the Apollo project, all together in Hollywood. Just a
Wow.
coincidence. Just a
Wow.
coincidence, right?
Interesting. I think it's a grand play, but who knows?
It is. The world is a stage. Who said that? Do you know?
I don't know. Please tell me. I need to use this quote.
Um, the entire world is a stage is by now. I just had a brain fart. Oh man, this is ridiculous. I just had a brain fart. It's gone.
Oh, we'll look it up.
The
for
world
sure.
is a stage. Google that. The world is a stage was said by
Let's see here.
wait.
The world is a stage.
Wow, there must be zapping me with some kind of like laser beam or something. The world is a
Oh,
stage.
it's by Shakespeare.
Shakespeare, duh.
Yeah,
Duh.
yeah,
So,
Shakespeare.
but no, what's funny about that? Shakespeare never existed. So the guy
Really?
that said the world is a stage, sorry, I couldn't remember Shakespeare, was just a made up character.
So you're saying Shakespeare never even existed? So
No.
who made him?
It was
just made up?
just a series of books that they needed to put out there, and because they always have to tell us what's going on. So, yeah, not real.
Interesting.
Not real.
Wow. Who knows? That could be what the Bible is too. They just had to put out a series of books in order to fit their own agenda, and so they did that. Who knows?
There's so much interesting stuff in the Bible. It's kind of fascinating. So
yeah, absolutely. I think people should just question everything.
yeah, these guys, they look like they just did the most incredible thing in the world and came back alive, or being forced to lie and threatens that their whole family will be killed if they don't do it.
Oh yeah, the reptilians are definitely threatening them. There's no question about that.
Um, what else? You gonna anything else?
Oh man, I don't know, man. I mean, really, I everything that you said is awesome. Again, I am totally about everyone is always in these arguments, you know what I mean? I think that everyone's perspective is valid and that we should try and expand perspectives because reality is infinite. Instead of trying to say things are right or wrong, I don't think reality is black or white. It's a singularity of grayscale. There's a song called Mr. Jones. I like Mr. Jones. I say I'm the reincarnation of the golfer Bobby Jones. But anyway, he says, gray is my favorite color. Because reality is a singularity grayscale. Everything's a spectrum. And I believe that people should just expand the minds and just believe that nothing is black or white and question everything and expand the minds. And it can, when they do that, they can have the neuroplasticity of a kid again and everything can become beautiful, you know, and they can be happy instead of depressed like the normal person is.
And I say that, you don't have to know what the world is. You just have to know what it's not. You have to know that you are at the center of creation. You're not on a spinning ball, lost in space, spinning out of control. And once you take that back, you've taken your power back. You've connected yourself with the true earth. And nobody can control you. So,
Yeah.
the entire world, this crazy situation that's going on in the world, would be over if everybody just took back their power tomorrow and just said, oh, you know what, government, I'm no longer listening to you. And then they're done. Nobody would even hear them.
Know what? Yeah. You know what's interesting is that no one has ever experienced anything else except being the center of the universe. There's all these things saying, hey, you're not the center of the universe. Well, guess what? You have never experienced anything besides the center of the universe. So why on earth would you trust anything else except your own direct experience?
Right. And the whole idea that the stars reset every year. I mean, if we're corkscrewing through space, curving around, going 186 million miles on the other side of the sun every 6 months, how the heck, these are the Georgia Guidestones, there's a hole in the middle here. And if you look through it, Polaris always lines up in that hole. Okay.
Wow.
How could that be if we were corkscrewing through space? That's impossible.
Yeah,
Polaris is also impossible to see. 433 light years away. That is the dumbest thing ever. You couldn't see it at 6 light hours away. Okay.
Yeah. Wow.
Even at the size that it is, they're 6 light days away. Whatever it is, it's 433 light years. It's too small, too far. People. Well, the sun. The light travels forever. It's not really there anymore. It was there, 30,000 years ago. And I say, cool story, bro.
I love it. See, I think everything is it's way more planned out than people think. People think that this is just some random mechanical mess. No. This is a very a planned out, brilliant design, and that I think if everyone starts becoming more aware of reality and paying attention to their direct experience, we can figure that out together.
Yeah, 100%. You can find me at theflatearthpodcast.com. My YouTube channel is DITRH. It's the initials for Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole. Lots of short videos there. And if you want to learn about Flat Earth, get the app. If you're unsure about spending $3 on an app, read the reviews. That'll turn you into a Flat Earther alone. Just the reviews. It's the highest rated app in the App Store. It's the highest rated app in the Google Play Store. It's in Google Play, you need operating system 8.0 or higher, and the App Store for Apple, iPads, and phones, you need iPhone 6 or better. And
awesome.
check it out. It'll provide you with years of entertainment.
Awesome. I love it, man. I think that if people actually listen to this, it'd be impossible for them not to expand their minds. And that's all that I'm trying to do is help expand people's minds, because when they do, they become a lot happier. So I really appreciate the conversation, man.
All right, man. Thanks, Connor.
Awesome. Sounds good. Peace.
All right. Have a good one. See ya.
Perfect. Awesome.
Do you make thumbnails for your videos?
No. I mean, I do, but I don't make them very well. Do you want to make one for me?
Sure. Go back up a little bit. I need to grab a picture of you.
Okay.
Back up a little bit, a little more, right there. Oh, hold on. You're out of focus. Now move away from that light. Move to your right. All right, stop. 1, 2, 3. All right, that'll work.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah,
I'll make you one. I'll shoot it over in a couple minutes.
All right, cool.
Use
Perfect.
it if you like it. If you don't like it, don't use it. And then send me the link when this goes up. All right. And then and
Yeah,
I'll share it. It'll be on the
I'll
app
post.
also.
Perfect. I'll post it in probably like a few days. Yeah.
All right. So make sure you send me the link because I'll put it
Yeah.
in the app
Awesome.
under the
100%.
interviews button.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right, man. See ya.
All right. Peace.
Bye.
The Flat Earth Sun and Moon Clock App, a dynamic new app to teach family and friends about where they actually live. The sky is a perfect clock. The sun measures the hours and days. The moon measures the weeks and months. The star constellations measure the seasons and years. 1212 or 24-hour clock face, or go hands-free. The Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock App with new added features. World Time. See what time it is all around the flat Earth. A true Earth compass that shows true navigation across and around the flat Earth plane. Weather. Tap for detailed local weather information. Know what phase and where the moon is at all times. Watch the sun travel between the tropics for the seasons. Select an amazing background. Add your own or have the app change it to a new one automatically every time you use the app. Add a countdown to your next big date. Learn the truth about our world with the featured video of the day. Web button for additional flat Earth related features, from the mythical curve calculator all the way to Tartaria. While talking to friends, easily pull up pictures that expose the globe lie and shine light on the flat Earth truth. Video playlists in different languages. See the real trade winds circling the flat Earth. And clean screen features. Simply click off the items you don't wish to see. The Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app is the best tool to show your friends and strangers how our flat Earth actually works.